Right, so to start off Fracas, we're going to make a frame. So we put a dot in each corner, and then we connect those dots with a line. So Fracas doesn't really have a string. It just kind of starts off and gets up and goes by itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off and we're going to make an X. And we're going to make a curved X. An X that maybe doesn't really cross right in the middle. And then we're going to make another line that goes right through the middle that way. And another that goes from the top to the bottom. I'm going to turn this sideways just because I find it easier to draw that way. To make sure that I hit that middle. The next step that we're going to do is we're going to aura the inside of each of these like little pie pieces here. Just take your time, turn your tile, and go slow. And then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add in some kind of bands into this. And the bands just, they kind of go more like this. So they're kind of that way. But it's just some parallel lines. Okay. And then I like to use the ones that I've already done to draw what's in there next. And now we're going to start to color these in a bit. But we're not going to color them all the way through, okay? We're going to create like a highlight that's going to be really cool looking. So I'm just going to start with like a middle one here. Or I'm going to start with a longer one here so you can see exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to start with this one right here. So I want my highlight to kind of be like here in the middle, and I want it to kind of go down to this area. So what I'm going to do is kind of color this over here, okay? And you see how I got like, I'm not putting a straight line and then coloring. I'm kind of making it a little bit jagged. And then I'm going to come over here and do the same thing, okay? So right now I'm laying down where my highlight is going to be. And I'm like, okay, well, sure, I can do that highlight here. You can make it smaller, you can make it bigger. But what you're going to want to do too is make sure that all this does get filled in and colored. So I'm going to use my 03 real quick. Okay. And then you're just going to want to make sure that when you do this little jagged part, you don't use a bigger pen, because it's fine to color in the black, but you do want this to look a little bit natural, not just straight line and stuff. So I see this is still okay. All right, and then you kind of continue down and continue until you're done. So I do like to use this as a bit of a guideline when I'm doing one section of the pie, just to make sure that I'm getting it in the right place. And of course, as you go up, your highlight is going to get smaller because you just have a smaller space right there. So I'm just gonna fix this here. Okay, and that is basically how you're going to decorate the rest of these. I do like to start in the middle because it's a lot easier to start in the middle. And for this bottom part right here, what I usually do is just kind of color it in to close it off. And if you see over here, putting a big old highlight on there is not really going to work out very well. We could certainly give it a try and see, but I usually color the whole thing in. But let's do an experiment and see. That doesn't look bad. All right. Now, if you do color something in like this heavy, even if you're using an O1, maybe not an O1, but if you're using something a little bit heavy, you're just gonna want to not touch that part just for like 5 to 10 seconds. So I'm gonna go over here and actually turn this way, so that, well, this way, so that I can get these other highlights in here and just not really touch that. This one doesn't have a lot of lines. That's okay. And then I seem to have forgotten this one over here, so that one doesn't really have a spot for a highlight, so I'm just gonna color that part in, and I'm gonna pretend like this line is in here and just color through all that. Okay, so the pen that I was using to color in before was a little bit not very juicy, so I just actually went back over with the O5 and tried to make it a little more smooth so that it looks a little bit nicer. All right, now since this is a busy tangle and it's got a lot of dark areas on it, we're not going to really shade anything too complicated. We're just going to actually put some graphite on the inside of each of these little pie pieces, so like this. And then we're going to blend it out with our tortillon. All right, so just have a look at your tile and decide if you maybe want the edges a little bit darker. I think that I'm going to darken mine just a tad bit. And then I'm going to use my tortillon to blend these out. So see, you can just always add more if you don't have enough. And so, and this, I think now I'm finished. This is Fracas.